What if Yoda trained Anakin Skywalker and was betrayed? Let's explore the depths of it in this video. Even from his childhood, Anakin showed signs of being the chosen one. It was why Jedi like Qui-Gon-Jin took such an interest in him. But while the evidence was there, the Jedi failed to take the right action, and it took Qui-Gon dying before they allowed Anakin to join the Order. Even then, they placed Anakin under the watch of Obi-Wan, an inexperienced Jedi instead of someone more accomplished. This raises the question, what would have happened if Yoda took the responsibility for himself? Welcome to Darth Theorist, where we explore the depths of the Force, analyze characters, and speculate on what could have been. Whether you're a Jedi Knight, a Sith Lord, or a curious traveler, prepare to ignite your imagination as we begin this journey. The story begins shortly after the funeral of Qui-Gon-Jin, his former Padawan. Obi-Wan had just finished his impassioned speech about how he wished to train Anakin to fulfill his master's dying wish. The Jedi Council listens to this testimony in silence, letting the words sink in. All of them knew that while Qui-Gon was unconventional, he was also brilliant and accomplished. Yoda is the first to break the silence.
Right you are, young one. Powerful this boy is, and the great potential he possesses. But lacking experience you are.
I don't understand. What will happen to Anakin?
Take this responsibility, I will, in training the boy.
Obi-Wan nods and steps back. Although his pride took a blow, he was pleased to see the Council taking the situation seriously. In truth, it was a relief. Training Anakin was a daunting task that he was not sure if he could handle. But the blows to the Jedi Order did not end there. Shortly after Qui-Gon's death, the Jedi would lose one of their best, as Count Dooku would voluntarily leave the Order. This last departure was particularly embarrassing to Yoda, who had been his former master. He knew that Dooku was having doubts about the Jedi and blamed himself for it, believing he had been negligent in allowing his apprentice to fall to the dark side. He vowed not to make the same mistake with Anakin. Shortly after the meeting, Yoda would visit the boy in his room and explain that he was to be Anakin's new master. This confused the boy, but he was intrigued by the idea. He'd heard the other younglings boast that Yoda was the wisest of the Jedi, who was capable of doing things with the Force that other Jedi could only dream of. For the boy who had only seen the Jedi use the Force a handful of times, even the youngling's power took his breath away. If he could learn from the best, then there was no telling what he could accomplish. Yoda gives Anakin a sad shake of his head and a sympathetic look.
Do this I cannot. Interfere with such affairs the Jedi do not.
The Grand Master sat Anakin down and explained the complexities of galactic jurisdiction and how the Jedi had little influence in the Outer Rim. He said that their duty was to maintain the sanctity of order. To Anakin, though, all he understood was that Yoda wouldn't help him. As he sat there, he didn't see Yoda as some powerful Jedi, but just another politician bound to the whims of policies and bureaucracy. Anakin did not back down. He threatened to leave if the Jedi wouldn't do something. For Yoda, he saw the same troubling signs as with Dooku. Anakin was already older than most boys and had developed habits unsuited for the Jedi. His attachment to his mother, while understandable, will cause problems if unchecked. If he was going to have any chance of making him a Jedi, those would need to be quashed. With a deep sigh, Yoda said,
Very well. Help you, I will. But afterwards, dedicate yourself to your training. You must.
True to his word, Yoda has someone on Tatooine buy Shmi's freedom, allowing her to settle on a quiet farm. Once that is done, he begins his training with Anakin. Recognizing the immense potential within the young Jedi, Yoda resolves to impart upon him the wisdom and skills necessary to fulfill his destiny. Their training sessions are grueling and intense, stretching from the break of dawn well into the depths of night. Yoda pushes Anakin to his limits, challenging him to master every aspect of the Jedi arts, from lightsaber combat to channeling the Force. Drawing upon his own experiences and the lessons learned from his past struggles with Dooku, Yoda tailors Anakin's training regimen to ensure he cannot be corrupted by the dark side. he teaches the young Jedi various lightsaber forms, emphasizing Form 4, which focuses on defending against lightsabers. Beyond physical combat, Yoda also teaches Anakin the powers of the Force. Drawing on his centuries of experience, the Grand Master displays the abilities of the Force, showing him tricks that even other Jedi don't know. As the days turn into weeks, and the weeks into months, Yoda's influence begins to reshape Anakin. The training was bitter work, but the results are undeniable as he shows dramatic improvements, a necessity given his older age compared to other younglings. For that reason, Yoda rarely allows Anakin to leave the Jedi Temple, keeping him away from distractions and making him focus solely on his Jedi training. As the years pass, the fruits of their labor begin to manifest. Despite starting his journey later than most, Anakin's natural talent and unwavering determination allow him to catch up and even surpass his fellow Padawans. He's able to perform feats of the Force that none of them can do, and in the sparring arena, he can defeat even seasoned knights. Masters and council members alike sing his praises, believing that it is only a matter of time before Anakin is knighted, and even made a master. And yet, there is also an unspoken resentment within Anakin. While he's proud of his accomplishments, there is also a sense of emptiness. For him, it doesn't matter how many duels he wins, as none of it takes him any closer to his goal. The path of the Jedi was about making a difference in the lives of others, by using his abilities to bring peace and justice to the galaxy in turmoil. But after years of training, he still finds himself trapped in the temple, unable to explore the galaxy and learn about its struggles or even put his skills to good use. Each time he asks Yoda about this, the old master simply says that he will be sent out when the Force calls him. One person who does notice this growing desperation is Obi-Wan. The only consolation of Anakin being stuck in the temple was he had ample opportunity to spend with Qui-Gon's former Padawan. The two of them formed a close bond, with Obi-Wan serving as a role model for Anakin over the years. It is why he is the one who sees that Anakin's spirit grows restless, and proposes an idea to Yoda.
Master Yoda, Anakin yearns for a purpose, for a chance to prove himself beyond the Jedi Temple. I believe it is time for him to embark on a mission.
Impatient you are. Wait for the dark side to reveal itself. We must.
With all due respect, Master Yoda, Anakin's destiny is to face the challenges of the galaxy. I ask that you trust in him, as I do. I was tasked with guarding Senator Amidala after a recent assassination attempt. I request that Anakin be sent with me so that he may learn while I keep an eye on him.
Very well, young Obi-Wan. But remember, remain vigilant. We must.
For Anakin, the mission is a welcome respite from the confines of the Jedi Temple, a chance to prove himself in the field alongside his mentor and friend. Compared to the stern Yoda, Obi-Wan gives Anakin the companionship he's been longing for. Though also willing to criticize Anakin, he's also willing to crack jokes and make quips that help ease the tension. Though enjoying the taste of freedom, Anakin still remembers that he is on a mission and barely manages to stop the assassination attempt. The assailant Zam Weasel attempts to escape, but is followed closely by the two Jedi, leading them through a speeder chase and finally an altercation in a club, ending with Zam being assassinated by Jango Fett to prevent her from revealing anything. Anakin's recklessness during the mission is met with stern disapproval. Despite Obi-Wan's efforts to defend his young friend, Yoda believes that Anakin's behavior shows he is not yet ready to undertake more missions and will continue his training in the temple. Hearing this, Anakin pleads with them to at least let him finish his current assignment. He is still a Jedi and has sworn to protect the Senator. He must see it through. Despite their misgivings, the Council ultimately allows Anakin's request, letting him guard Padme while Obi-Wan is given the task of discovering the plot behind the assassination attempt. As they continue to spend time together, Anakin grows more disillusioned with the Council. In the Jedi Order, he feels like a prisoner, expected to carry the weight of the galaxy, but not being given the chance to put his own skills to work. Spending time outside the temple with Padme and Obi-Wan allows Anakin to feel happy for the first time in his life, and now that is being taken away from him. But he has little time to dwell on those thoughts as soon as he discovers that Obi-Wan's search for the mystery bounty hunter has led him to Geonosis, where he has been captured. Despite orders to remain where he is, Anakin and Padme journey to the desert planet to rescue their friend. They are greeted by a disturbing sight. Instead of empty dunes, there are thousands of starships, each one being loaded up with millions of battle droids, This wasn't just a political assassination. It was a war preparation. Before they can learn more, the two are captured while investigating a droid factory. They are separated and Anakin is brought before the leader of this army, Count Dooku. I know you. You're Master Yoda's former apprentice, Dooku. You're a fallen Jedi, a traitor to everything the Order stands for. Dooku gives him a bemused smile. And what might that be, young one? An empty shell of an Order who do nothing but serve the whims of a corrupt republic? Anakin doesn't answer. How could he? In his years serving the Order, he's done nothing more than train and be told that he is the chosen one, destined to bring peace to the galaxy. And yet, all he's done is study in a temple, while the galaxy seems more corrupt than ever. Ah, but perhaps it is you who's been misled, young Skywalker. The Jedi are not what they once were, blinded by their hubris and shackled by the chains of their hypocrisy. They have forsaken their duties to uphold justice and peace in the galaxy, become little more than pawns in the political machinations of the Senate. I mean to change that. By waging a galactic war? By allowing those who have suffered the most a chance to rise up and topple the Republic. Join me, young Skywalker, and together we can bring about the change that the galaxy so desperately needs. With your strength and my guidance, we can reshape the universe. Anakin doesn't answer the Count right away. It was a tempting offer, and exactly why Anakin became a Jedi. But if the Jedi weren't going to do anything, maybe it was time for a different path. Dooku could sense the hesitation in his prisoner. A smile started to form on his face. I hear you enjoy building things, young one. It was everything the young Jedi could have wanted. But he hesitated again. He had some conditions. The first was that Obi-Wan and Padme were to be released unharmed. The second was that he would not be kept in the shadows. If there was going to be a war, Anakin wanted to be involved in it. Dooku agreed to these terms, allowing his prisoners to escape. However, during the escape, an accident would happen. While watching their backs, Anakin would be separated and tragically cut down by droids. In reality, Anakin had simply entered a hibernation trance, allowing him to fake his death. He would escape Geonosis along with Count Dooku, where they would begin the Clone Wars. Anakin would take the name Lars Quell, and would claim to be a bounty hunter in the service of the Separatists. In reality, he would serve as Dooku's apprentice, where he would learn about the dark side of the Force. The training Anakin underwent was not too different from the one that Yoda subjected him to. Like his former trainer, the Count was a strict master, making Anakin work his fingers to the bone in all aspects of the Sith, from lightsaber combat to harnessing different Force abilities. However, the training would take up less time than with the Jedi, as Anakin would also serve as a commander and engineer in the Separatist military. Having spent half his life with the Jedi, Anakin had learned their ways and how to manipulate them. This made him a feared CIS commander, who always seemed one step ahead of the Jedi. In space, Anakin's piloting skills were second to none, and he led the CIS to countless naval victories, while on the ground his troops seemed unstoppable. Part of this was because of his abilities, and the other part was his engineering genius. He constantly studied the battle droids, tinkering with them and looking for ways to improve them. These modifications allowed Anakin's army to become some of the most effective and disciplined in the CIS, outperforming even experienced commanders like Dirge, Asajj Ventress, and General Grievous. But he wasn't just successful as a general. Unlike these other commanders who only acted out of hatred for the Jedi, Anakin was genuinely concerned with improving the lives of those in the galaxy. So in each world he captured, Anakin also worked to combat issues such as slavery, corruption, and poverty. This made Anakin a hero to the people of the galaxy. His presence, even as a bounty hunter, helped improve the CIS's reputation. Despite being led by the Sith, many people saw the CIS doing what the Jedi were supposed to do, allowing entire star systems to surrender without a fight. For Palpatine, Anakin's success proved to be a problem. The purpose of the Clone Wars was to weaken both sides by pitting the galaxy against each other, but Anakin's success had only strengthened the CIS. At this rate, they may win the war outright or force the Republic to negotiate a peace agreement. He could not allow this, and the only way to ensure the war would continue was by eliminating Lars Quell. During the Battle of Sullust, Anakin would lead the naval fleet against the Republic, pushing them to the breaking point. However, this time Anakin would finally meet his match, as the Republic forces were led by an old friend, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. At the same time, Count Dooku would receive a transmission from his master.
There is a disturbance in the Force. I sense a great power in Lars.
Indeed. He has proven to be a brilliant general.
And powerful in the Force. I can sense his powers growing each day. I would hate to believe you are training an apprentice in secret to use against me.
Never. My loyalties are to you, and our cause.
Then see to it that Lars Quell does not survive this battle.
At Sullust, Anakin's fighter weaved back between the capital ships, barely dodging turbo-laser fire and other fighters, as he was pursued by a pair of Jedi interceptors. As he flies, the young Sith acolyte receives a message from Count Dooku. Master, I'm a bit busy at the moment. I have received a message from my master. Today he expects you to fall in battle. Anakin turns to the holodisc, his jaw hanging slack as he looks at his master, a dozen emotions whirring in his head until it settles to shock. This moment distracts him enough that Obi-Wan scores a hit on his fighter. Do not worry. I would not allow such a thing. But we must act quickly. What would you have me do? I will give Sidious his victory. Allow yourself to be shot down and crash on the planet below. I will send a ship to recover you later. The apprentice nods to his master and allows another laser bolt to hit his ship before he begins to fly erratically and disappears into the planet's surface. However, the Jedi can't chase after him as they are needed in the battle. Without a leader, the Separatists were left in disarray and were defeated. Afterward, the wreckage of Anakin's fighter is recovered as proof of his demise, allowing the Republic to claim that they had finally slain the CIS's greatest leader. However, as the last of the Republic fleet departs, a small salvage ship arrives in the system and approaches a rendezvous point where Anakin is waiting. Though alive, Anakin is severely wounded and is forced to spend months recovering. Once he recovers, he continues his training with Dooku. However, due to his second death, Anakin is kept away from the front lines. Instead, he is sent to administer several planets on the Outer Rim. He will continue his role as an engineer, building ships and droids for the CIS. Without him, General Grievous takes command of the CIS, leading a long and vicious campaign against the Republic that ends with his boldest move, an attack on Coruscant to capture the Chancellor. While alone in his quarters aboard the Invisible Hand, Dooku hails his young apprentice with his orders. Bring your fleet here. I granted my master's wish of killing Lars Quell. Now it's time for Anakin Skywalker to reveal himself. The battle lasts for several days, but over time the Republic begins to gain the upper hand. Soon, a task force of Jedi consisting of Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka is sent to board the Invisible Hand to rescue Palpatine. At the same time, dozens of CIS ships emerge from hyperspace to reinforce the fleet. The flagship of this flotilla broadcasts a fleet-wide message to both Republic and Separatist fleets. If you can hear me, you all know me as Lars Quell, but my real name is Anakin Skywalker. I know many people believe I perished in Sullust, but it takes more than a crash landing to keep me down. Today, I'm ready to finish what I started. Anakin boards his fighter to join his master on board the Invisible Hand. When he arrives, he's surprised to see that Dooku had not engaged the task force in combat, but was attempting to talk to them. The Jedi were blinded to the threat right in front of them. The true Sith Lord is seated right in front of you. Now it is time to make things right. Join me, and we shall set this mistake right by executing Palpatine. You expect us to believe such a lie, Dooku? It is time for you to pay for your crimes. Sadly, time is not wising you, my old friend. As all four Jedi ignited their lightsabers, they surrounded the fallen Count. Dooku raises his blade to defend himself. Anakin appears from the doorway and joins the fight. He sends a wave of force, sending Yoda and Obi-Wan flying back, leaving his master to deal with Mace and Ahsoka. I have no desire to kill either of you. Lay down your weapons and let us talk.
Nothing to say have I, my fallen apprentice.
The smaller Jedi launches himself at Anakin, hopping and leaping from place to place, forcing Anakin to chase after him while defending against Obi-Wan. Even with his training, the pair give him a good fight. Anakin is forced on the defensive as he blocks their attacks. A part of this was from being overwhelmed. Another was his restraint from hurting them. You were the chosen one, Anakin. You were destined to bring balance to the Force. And how was I supposed to do that while trapped in a temple, performing for the Council's amusement?
Fool! Given you all the training I have. Taught you everything I know. Made you a Jedi, I did.
You kept me locked in a temple, training day after day for a task you would never let me fulfill. You didn't make me a Jedi. I was a slave. The words strike home with Obi-Wan, who halts his attack and looks in shock. He remembered the sullen teenager, trapped within the temple. Then he recalled how happy Anakin had been when he finally been allowed to go on a mission and see the world for himself. Master, perhaps we should listen to him. The words struck a chord with him as well. He thought of all the times he had pushed Anakin, training him in every way imaginable, and believed it would be what allowed him to defeat the dark side and purge Anakin of his bad habits. But at this moment, he realized that he had also stripped away from Anakin who he was. But in the heat of battle, Yoda takes another lunge at him. There would be time to talk to Anakin after they had freed the Chancellor. Before they can attack again, Anakin unleashes a burst of Force judgment, knocking both masters out. Count Dooku was not having any such luck, as he was cornered between Mace and Ahsoka, slowly being forced back. Anakin moves to join him, but is too slow. He can only watch as Mace swings his lightsaber right at Count Dooku's hands, severing them from his body. Anakin can only scream in anguish as he rushes at Mace, raining down vicious blows on the Jedi Master who struggles to defend them. Eventually, one attack lands and cuts down the powerful Jedi Master. Ahsoka gasps and readies herself, but Anakin raises a hand. Stand down, young one. At another time we might have been friends, but today you are my prisoner. Reluctantly, Ahsoka lowers her weapon as Anakin rushes to tend to his master, but he's stopped by the sound of laughing. Palpatine had seen everything from his chair and was cackling.
Such power from one so young. I admit I did order the Count to have you killed, but perhaps that was my mistake. I should have invited you to join me, as I do now. Simply finish the Count off, and I will gladly make you my apprentice. I doubt he has much more to teach you after that.
Anakin's mind was clear and saw through Palpatine's deception. He helped his master to his feet. I haven't forgotten your role in this, Chancellor. This ship will be your tomb. Palpatine's smile faded, and he straightened in his chair.
Then you shall die alongside him. Grievous, kill them!
The doors swung open and revealed the cyborg general. Count Dooku could only watch in surprise as a green lightsaber embedded itself into his chest, lifting him off the ground and tossing him aside. Before his body even hit the ground, Grievous turned his attention to Anakin, his lightsaber spinning in all directions. Fueled by the loss of his master, Anakin raised his weapon and prepared to defend himself. But from the side, Obi-Wan and Yoda leapt out to attack. Lashing out and diverting the general's attention, Ahsoka picked up her weapons, and the four of them surrounded Grievous. Despite his skills, the Kaleesh general was no match for them, and 4 lightsabers entered his chest simultaneously. With the general dead, Anakin withdrew his lightsaber and thrust it into Palpatine's chest. With the Chancellor dead and Anakin's reinforcements, the CIS forces regained the upper hand. Perhaps more importantly, Yoda and the other Jedi had seen that Anakin was not corrupt. He had surrendered, and they allowed him to land. In the end, the Senate was merged with the Separatist Parliament, with corrupt senators being purged en masse. A new Chancellor was elected, who began to change the Republic along the lines of Anakin's reforms in the Outer Rim. Meanwhile, the Jedi would also undergo major changes, the biggest being Yoda stepping down as Grand Master in favor of Anakin. He began the process of moving the Order from Coruscant to branches across the galaxy to help oversee the rebuilding. That's our theory. The Star Wars galaxy is filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.